This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
Man, have we missed you.
Oh my gosh, it's been, what?
5, 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh. So much stuff's going on too.
Yes. And I just found out that the information was not put up on the website to let everybody know what was happening.
Oh no.
So, and you know what? Dad's the one that does that, and Dad's been swamped with things as well.
Yeah.
So not only with everything we're going through, but,
yeah,
you know, his job is super intense with right now at with the city, so it's just kind of crazy. But anyway, we have missed you guys so much. We miss just the calmness of normal life, right?
Yes, very much so.
Of just having a place in the house where we do this.
Yeah,
and
of it being calm.
Yes, and it's just been crazy.
Yeah.
So I'll just say it right out front. What happened was, my mom and dad, which is also, they are also known as Nana and Pappy, lived in Florida, and their health has deteriorated to a point that they felt like that they, and we all did, that they should move up here. Well, with us. So what happened was we had to, in the beginning, we had to move rooms around because we didn't have enough space.
Yeah.
So then we're crowded into a space that didn't work. Then we changed rooms, and then we moved. So then we got their stuff. So what happened? We went down there and packed their stuff. And so, okay, here's a crazy part. Had gone down there earlier. Remember, you and I did, and we had packed her stuff.
Yes.
Then she thought, well, she's not moving up here. So your cousins, Nick and Shane, were there. She had them unpack it.
Oh,
this is where I'm just like gritting my teeth. Because then we had to repack it.
Yes.
So that and then some. So we were away from home for so long, and it was just not an environment where we could sit and relax and have a conversation. I mean, I don't really know that I've looked you right in the eyes and had a conversation with you in a month.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, there's been passing by comments and stuff like that, but it's, nothing like this.
More grunts and groans of lifting heavy objects and moving them to a different location.
Yes.
So what we did is we packed their stuff, and because they're in the situation they are, which I think we've talked about this before, but Nana has kidney disease and she has liver disease and
severe asthma.
But the liver issue makes it so she's not cognitively where she used to be throughout her life. And Pappy is the same way, but not. He's got diabetes and heart disease, and he's not cognitively where he used to be. So
still
the realtors,
sings great, though.
The still does what?
Still sings great.
Yes,
though.
he does. So anyway, the realtor relied on me to make decisions, which was a great deal of stress.
Oh my gosh!
Because it's this thing where it's not just that we were away because we were doing things physically, like packing and then, getting the U-Hauls up here and then unloading into storage, into the house and all that. But what happened was it's so stressful. And you're not there yet, Josh, thankfully. But when your parents get to a certain age and you end up making the decisions for them, it's extremely stressful. Because I don't want to just make decisions for them. I want for them to be okay. I want for them to have the best life they can have.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to leave their home. They wanted to retire in Pensacola. They had a beautiful home there.
Yeah.
And, but we have to live up here. And this is where the jobs are. This is where the support for you is.
Yeah.
We're finding, I mean, you have a wonderful, there's just too many things to walk away from up here.
Yeah.
Not that that's even a thought. But
right.
there's a reason that we're here, in other words.
Yeah.
And so, reasonably, they needed to come up here by us.
Yeah.
But in the process, I've made decisions for you and with you your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different.
Yeah.
But it is different.
I can imagine, because the people who you grew up taking care of you, you're now taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
On top of taking care of me.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Taking care of you is different too, though, now as you're an adult. It's funny because when you were a kid, I made all the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I never... You were always considered and
Mm-hmm.
how you felt. Like you were the priority.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't make decisions without thinking about what was best for you.
Right.
But I made those decisions because you were a little guy.
Yeah.
Now that you're an adult, you buck the system. So I've really had to revamp how I help you make decisions. Because I don't really make decisions for you anymore.
Right. You tend to include me in the decision-making process.
Mm-hmm.
You always have, really.
Mm-hmm.
You've always taken my wants and needs into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm an adult, it's... Like you said, it's different. Because I'm sometimes making decisions on my own that have impacts on not just me, but you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And not always the best decisions either.
Well, there are times, yeah. I mean, there are times when you're going to do something and I say, here's why that should be different. Right?
Yeah.
But it is very, I think, complicated and emotional in moving Nana and Pappy up here.
Yeah.
In the first place, just to be completely honest, I never wanted to live with anybody else. They don't want to live with us. We don't want to live with them. Yet...
Here we are.
But yeah, here we are. And what we're doing is getting people to build an addition onto the house, kind of like a mother-in-law suite.
Yeah.
And, in the meantime, we just don't have enough space still because we're working on it. But when I say that we don't want to live together, I mean, that's not a slight on anybody's part. It's that they want to be independent.
Yeah.
And they want to have their own place. And they didn't want to come up here, but they're making the best of it.
Yeah.
And already Nana fell since she was here.
Yeah.
And had to go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
And I have to say that is so... that feels so much better to be able to be there instantly for her.
Yes.
Than to be 15 hours away.
Yeah.
So
and maybe hear about it later.
Well, they would call me right away.
Oh, they
but
would?
Yeah, they always call me right away.
Okay.
But I couldn't get there.
Right.
And this time, it's like there's enough of us that everybody went whoosh, right to where it happened.
Yeah.
And got her in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And the guys lifted her out of the house, because it's a big step right now.
Yeah.
And so, I see that this is where she needs to be. She sees this is where she needs to be. And it is important. But I'm just saying all the emotions of it are that, remember how we talked before about, did you want to live at home or did we want you to live with us, and how there needed to be some independence and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Well, I think that that's probably what I'm talking about here.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Nana is okay. She's really bruised up and everything, but she is okay.
She has a giant. Her face is just all bruised up. It
Yeah.
looks really bad, but
Yeah.
she's got a lump on her forehead and a lump on her, what I call her top knot, because she's got a huge.
Because it's on the crown of her head.
Yeah, it's a huge lump. And they're squishy, too. She goes, feel it. It's squishy. Like, she just showed me that yesterday.
She told you that?
Yeah, like, I don't want to feel your squishy lump. But I did, and it's squishy.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But there is a emotional part to this, too. To see that, for me, to see that my parents need as much help as they do, is difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they're here because, it's this weird place that some people would say, well, assisted living is great or, independent living is great. And that might be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any different because I've never done this before.
Right.
So for right now, this is what they want. They're going to, have this remodel done hopefully within, a couple months.
Yeah.
And then they'll have an easier, a handicap accessible bathroom.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're gonna be doing better. But what's happened is that when we're not physically moving recently, it was just I was so emotionally exhausted, I couldn't do this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been from early in the morning until late at night to fix things and, down there moving things and then driving up here. And by the way, you rode shotgun on the way up here, and you did a great job.
Thanks.
Of helping Uncle Tracy not to wipe cars out on the way. Because that happened a few times, didn't it?
Yeah.
To get everybody an idea, too, if you go to U-Haul and you get a 26-foot truck,
Yeah.
it's like a 3 or 4 bedroom house, right?
Yeah. And
Nana had a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
Yeah. What size was the other truck?
22.
20. Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
26-foot truck and a 20-foot truck.
And both of them were trailing cars.
And both of them were pulling cars. And your dad and I had to go back last weekend and get a small U-Haul that we pulled behind the truck.
Yeah.
To get all of her junk out of the house. There's so much stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And you were in the midst of all of that craziness.
Yeah.
And at times I was concerned about you because I could tell when you get physically worn out, like anybody else, you need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also for you, it's the all the social interaction that goes with moving.
Yeah.
All the things that are not in their place.
Yeah. So it's emotionally draining as well.
But for a different reason than me, right?
Yes.
Like for you, explain that to me.
For me, it's a lot of it is the social interactions and things like that, like, and trying to constantly fit puzzle pieces of things where they need to go.
Right, yeah.
And then picking up heavy things to put them where they need to go.
Yeah.
And just, so it's a mixture of the physical and the mental.
Mm-hmm.
I'd almost say trauma, but...
Well, I would say that's right.
Yeah.
I would say that that's right, because you were at times trying to figure out, do you want this or you don't want this? Okay, here's a box. What will fit in this box?
Yeah.
And this box is from this room, but now there's some space left over.
Yeah.
But if this box is from this room,
yeah,
how do I bring something from the other room and put it in this box when...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're very methodical
yeah.
and regimented,
Yeah.
and you want things in their place except for your bedroom. I was picking on you for a sec. But yeah, you want them where they... Like, it needs to make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's really, I think, worth mentioning that when it came to moving, there were things that for me might have been a frustration or tiring.
Yeah.
For you, it was on an entirely different level.
Yeah.
'Cause,
but at the same time, I mean, we made some awesome finds in her stuff. I mean, that really would elevate our not happiness, but like our
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what?
Like we found a Scrabble board game from
Oh, yeah, yeah.
1938.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just a really cool find.
Mm-hmm.
And just different things like that
Yeah.
that were just popping up here and there.
Yeah. You're right. You know what? I wouldn't have thought of that. I don't remember that until you just said it. But I think there were quite a few, and I won't remember what they were until we unpack them.
Right. Like there was a game called Feudal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a strategy board game. That
I remember throwing some of those pieces at my brother before.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
and as well as like stock market games. And things like that according to the reviews on eBay and places like that really weren't that great. But
right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's some really unique and cool finds in there.
It got to a point though that we were all so physically exhausted, and that I could tell that you, at one point, you were so you needed your space. You needed to get away from all of us.
Yeah.
And you went into the big walk-in closet.
Yeah.
And laid down and fell asleep.
Yeah.
And nobody knew where you were for a long time.
Oh my gosh.
But you needed to separate yourself from all of us.
Yeah.
In a way that it's like we could. Because what I'm saying is that there was a difference in our physical exhaustion or emotional exhaustion and what you were experiencing. Because for you add to all that stress of trying to figure out what goes where, how to do this, and all the physical stuff. But then the social interaction that it takes to get there.
Yeah. Like
taking directions or following the directions or instructions, and then
trying to be helpful to everyone, and that's not even including whenever we had the movers there,
right,
to help us and to try and help them and guide them and everything. I mean, it was just absolutely overwhelming.
Well, because even then, when you're loading the trucks, you go, what's next?
Yeah.
How does this make sense? And how do you have to pack it so that it's the safest? Like,
yeah.
I thought the heaviest stuff on a U-Haul goes closest to the vehicle. I mean, to the front of the vehicle. So the cab, or if you're pulling a trailer, closest to the hitch.
Yeah.
Well, apparently those heavy things need to go over the wheels.
Yeah.
They need to go over the axle.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because otherwise it split.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, you were dealing with an awful lot, and your way of handling it was to just disappear occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I understand that was also frustrating for you guys at times that would happen, but at the same time.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, you guys were looking for me and everything, and didn't know where I was. So that was stressful for you guys. So I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's all right.
But at the same time, I needed that time away. Didn't mean to fall asleep.
Yeah. Well.
But
I mean, it's okay because that's what you needed.
Yeah.
So that's fine. The only thing that I would say is, most of the time that you do, let me know what you're about to do.
Yeah.
Because then when everybody else is asking,
I
can say, he needed his space, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Which is what I tell people, it's just, and then they would.
Yeah.
So it was just, what we're even talking about right now doesn't do it justice, because this was, I think your word is correct, it was traumatic.
Yeah.
Because there is a part of this that, taking Nana and Pappy away from the home where they wanted to live was difficult.
Yeah.
And she had a nurse that was coming to the house every week before she left. And that nurse gave her something to help to relax during the move itself that day, and that did help her.
Oh, good.
Because he didn't know how upset she was going to be about it. Because in Pensacola, that's where Nana grew up.
Yeah.
So, and that's where she wanted to stay.
Yeah.
So it was complicated.
Yeah. I remember that finally after we got Nana up here, that pretty much everybody got sick.
Everybody got sick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We all got a cold.
Yeah.
I mean, it just went around and just...
Yeah. It kicked our butt.
Yeah, it did. It was awful.
Yeah.
And Nana is severe asthmatic, so she had a really hard time with it.
Yeah.
At one point, having her up here, seeing how sick she was, I was really questioning, does she need to be living someplace different? You know, does she need to live in assisted living?
Right.
You know, because she's so sick.
Yeah.
And
honestly, there have been, for me at least, in my perspective, there have been way too many recent cases that have been in the news of assisted living homes not doing their jobs.
That's true. That does happen sometimes, but it's a tough job to have.
Yeah.
And the good ones make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
But
it's the bad ones that taint the view of it, is what I mean.
Yeah. I think that's true for
a lot of things.
Yeah. I think that's true for a lot of,
politicians.
Lawyers. Right? Yeah. I mean, just you hear about the bad ones, right?
Yeah.
So this has been such a long drawn out process that really was for us 3 trips down to Florida.
Yeah.
And again, which is a 15-hour drive.
In one way.
One way.
Yeah.
Our dad said he never wants to make that trip again. It was just awful.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, then our pup Einstein was very, very sick.
Yeah.
He's got some sort of allergies that we're trying to figure out, and he's a mess. He's lost his hair. It's not mange. He's
chewing it off.
He's seeing some of it he can't get to. It's real thinning. But he's seeing a dermatologist and a regular vet, so we're trying. But in the meantime, he's just been constantly needing to be held, which was so hard to do during the move, so he got worse.
Yeah.
And so that was something that we were dealing with on top of everything else that was emotional.
Yeah.
And then
whenever we got back, your calendar went missing, which is where you keep everything organized.
Man, I can't function without my calendar. I'm really feeling like so
antsy,
like,
jittery.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yes, I'm so anxious because everything is on my calendar.
Yeah.
Everything. When I'm talking to somebody, I take notes, their names, the phone numbers, and I keep track of your appointments, of my appointments, of Dad's appointments, of Einstein's appointments.
Yeah.
So everything is there, and then the things that I have that's scheduled during the day, work that I have to do, or I get to do, I should say, during the day, I have that on my calendar.
Yeah.
And
it's gone.
It's gone. And I feel so lost. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I don't even know. I've looked everywhere. You've looked everywhere. Dad's looked everywhere. And we moved out of the master bedroom into what was the office.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had an office. And then Dad moved the office into my office.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to share an office. And then now, because
you were like, nope.
Nope. So your dad is able to concentrate so well on what he's doing that all the noise around him, it doesn't even affect him. He's
Right.
able to just concentrate and get done what he needs to get done.
Right.
Not me.
Every little noise distracts you.
Every little noise.
Yeah.
I hear everything, and it bothers me to a point that I have earbuds.
Yeah.
That now I listen to the earbuds while I'm working because I don't want to hear. Because at any time, given time, there's Nana and Pappy, there's Dad, there's Connor, there's Madison, there's Bug, and her fiance Kenny.
Yeah.
Running around here.
And me.
And you, yeah, didn't I say you?
I
guess I'm talking to you, so right. Not that everybody lives here, but everybody comes in whenever they want.
Yeah.
And RJ.
Yeah, and RJ.
So, yes, when I'm doing something... So I moved my desk as far away from everybody as I possibly could be. So that's where I am now. But anyway, in the midst of all that, where's my calendar? I have no idea.
Yeah.
We have so much junk around here, too, like paper that needs to be... Everything is all messed up now. I had things organized in this whole
it was
process.
organized chaos is what it was.
What it is now. Yeah, well, maybe, yes. Because I had stacks of what I was going to do.
For your stuff was organized chaos.
Right.
Dad is...
Meticulous.
Oh my gosh, meticulously organized.
You can look at his desk and my desk and you know
see
who's whose. That's
yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. So, yeah. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know. But anyway, I knew I rely on my calendar.
Yeah.
And I rely on a notebook. I have them both together and a pen all the time. Because, and other people keep track of stuff on their
phones or their tablets or their computer.
So for me, even if I'm going to do that,
you still write it down in your...
But I need to see a calendar. I need to see the days when I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah.
So I can see if when I'm open, when I have...
Yeah.
And I don't know how people just do it, because if you don't... And also you have to, when you go on the calendar, you click something to add it, and it asks you the date, it asks you what time, it asks you the event.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, just give me my pen.
Yeah.
Write it down. It's so much easier for me.
Yeah.
So to let me know, because you know I'm a big believer in meridians and pathways and how we're made up of energy and how there's a connection between our emotions and different organs in our body. And it's like liver is where anger is held. Right? That's just a...
That makes sense for Nana then.
Yeah! I guess it does.
Love you, Nana. Love you, Nana.
So, anyway, your teeth are connected to organs too. So if you have something done in particular teeth, like a root canal, that can affect that particular organ. Because the pathways are connected. Well, I broke a tooth after we got back. And that tooth is related to the stomach and the pancreas. I'm sorry, the spleen. Stomach and the spleen. And the emotion connected to that is worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
Your worry your stress was off the charts.
Yeah, it broke my tooth eating a piece of bread. So...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was that bad. So, yeah, so I have to get a crown.
Not your tooth, but the stress.
Yes. I have to get a crown now.
Oh, man.
So, I went to the dentist and going to have that done pretty soon here. But, yeah, all of this stuff is affecting all of us so intensely. And I'm wondering how you're feeling, because you've made a decision, and I agree with it, and that is that you feel like you'd like to move back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you realize that it's bonkers around here right now, to say the least.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so it's very stressful around here right now. But that's just because things are still settling down.
Well, look, exactly. We have a refrigerator where it belongs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a refrigerator in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Where we're going to replace the one that we have because they brought their refrigerator. We have 2 washers, 2 dryers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
2 refrigerators, and a deep freezer.
Yeah.
All this stuff that doesn't have a place yet.
Yeah.
That will once the addition is put on.
Yeah.
But, right, and you still. Well, you're asking me about. Yes. So your sister got a new house.
Yeah.
On the 28th. Yes, I think that's.
Yeah.
Right. You're kind of gesturing to me about Haley, about Bug's house.
Yeah.
And right. Yes, that's another source of stress that's taken place too.
Yeah.
That she got a new house and
we helped her. We're helping her move in.
And not only that, but it's a great house, as they say, great bones.
Yes.
But we hauled 7 truckloads of nasty stuff to, like insulation from the attic and stuff, and ductwork and all that needed to be replaced.
Wood.
So 7 loads to the dump.
Yeah.
So yes, on top of moving Nana and Pappy up, and us rearranging the whole house, we helping Bug with her new house, and so yeah, it's great. So all this stuff is really good.
Yeah, it's just
it's really good.
Draining.
Everything is like moving in the right direction, and it's going to be wonderful. And it's just been so, you're absolutely right, draining.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it's all. Or not all, because I mean, being sick and stuff like that isn't good.
Mm-mm.
But for the most part, it's been good things.
Well, something that I've noticed with you is that because there's been so much commotion,
mm-hmm.
people are tired.
Mm-hmm.
What's missing a lot of times is the direct information that you need in order to be successful.
Yes.
And so I've noticed that with you, that it's kind of like somebody might think that you didn't do what you said you were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But my perspective is that you didn't really know that you were supposed to.
Yeah.
You didn't know that you agreed to do something. You didn't know that you were asked to do something. You heard a conversation.
Yeah.
But there was nothing definitive.
Right, exactly.
And that's what's been missing. And how does that affect you?
Oh my gosh, it's so stressful. It's so stressful. It is one of those things where it's like, oh geez, how's that song go? And I will raise my hands up and surrender.
Oh, I will raise my hands up and surrender. Just a side note, your sister Bug always thought that she was saying, I will poke my eyes out and surrender. So now, when I'm having like a stressful time or whatever, I'll just send her a text. I will poke my eyes out and surrender.
Yeah.
But yeah, you feel overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
You feel like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's especially difficult whenever, like you said, whenever other people think that they've confirmed something with me, when I didn't even realize something was on the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yes. And I've heard from a couple people say, well, he said he was going to come over. He didn't come over. I go, does he know? Are you sure that he knows he's supposed to come over? Well, we talked about it. I go, was it definitive? Because if it's not, because you need that
confirmation.
You need that confirmation within a conversation.
Yeah.
So if somebody can't just say to you, hey, do you think you can come help tomorrow? And if you said, yeah, I can do that. Well, then to you, that's not a confirmation. That's a conversation about something that could potentially happen.
Yes.
What you need at the end of that is, okay, so could you please be here tomorrow at, and give you a time.
Yeah.
Or, okay, great, you're gonna come do this tomorrow. I will call you with a time.
Yeah. And as well as what is going to be done.
Right.
Because part of it is I have to wear the right clothes for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I wear work clothes? Do I wear long pants work clothes? Or long sleeve work clothes? Or short sleeve and shorts?
Mm-hmm. You will not wear long sleeve with shorts, will you?
No.
Yeah. Still, to this day?
To this day.
Will you wear a zip-up hoodie with shorts?
No.
But you'll wear shorts with long pants.
Huh?
You will wear short-sleeve shirts. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're not going to wear shorts with... No wonder you went, huh? You will wear short-sleeve t-shirts or shirts with long pants.
Yeah.
How come you can't do it the other way?
Because it's weird.
Okay.
Like, why would you ask me such a thing? It's weird.
It was one of those looks you just gave me, like, what planet are you from?
No, it's so weird to me to wear long sleeve shirts or a jacket with shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I finally gotten to the point where I can wear flip flops with pants.
Right, I noticed that.
But I can't.
So what if you're out, you're wearing shorts, you're wearing a t-shirt, you're out, and it starts getting cold. And you have a zip-up hoodie with you, like in the car. You would not put that on even if you're cold?
No, because it just feels weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, back to during all of this time, you needing to have clear instruction or direction or guidance.
Yeah.
How frustrating has that been for you that...
It's been very frustrating, especially because you guys are so frustrated and don't have the time to tell me what needs to be done.
Right.
And that's not a slight against you guys or anything like that.
I get
because it's been really stressful and difficult for everybody. I get that. And so it's very
painful. I would say this has been a painful endeavor.
Yeah.
Not just physically from moving so much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just the psychological aspect of it, the emotional part of it. It's just been exhausting.
Yeah.
And so hopefully now, you're going to... It feels like today, the reason we're doing this today is because it feels like the first day that we're really kind of grounded again.
Yeah.
Really kind of can even have a coherent thought, it seems.
Yeah.
And so hopefully from this point forward, everybody will go back to really being clear with what it is that, they're asking of you.
Yeah.
And I'll remind everybody too. And you can remind them.
Okay.
Hey, if you're talking to me and you'd like my help with something, you have to be very specific and you have to say it a couple of times.
Yeah.
We're talking about it, that's fine. But then you need to spell out exactly what it is that you're wanting me to do.
Right. That's honestly the last few times that Haley's wanted me to help her with stuff, she hasn't done that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that she has gotten frustrated with me a few times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not her fault. It's not really...
Well, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's just that the language hasn't been what you need it to be in order to make it click.
Yes.
This happened last night at dinner with Connor, because we had spaghetti and meatballs, which is his favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad, RJ, was here. Everybody was here.
Everybody. Oh my gosh.
So,
that was a situation where that dinner time last night was a situation where I had to get away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was just so much going on.
And I think, yes, you're absolutely right. But Connor he loves spaghetti meatballs. And so his dad made him a plate of spaghetti meatballs. And he started having a meltdown.
Yeah.
And RJ was like, what? What? He said spaghetti and meatballs. And he wanted sauce. And then, so what happened was there was too much sauce.
Yeah.
And his fork touched the spaghetti.
Yeah.
And so his mom, Bug, ended up said, "Can I have that?"
Yeah.
And that's how she got him through that. Yes, you can have that. So it went off of his plate onto her plate. And surprising, he was okay using the same plate.
Yeah.
But he couldn't use the same fork.
Right.
That fork needed to go away because
Yes.
that touched the spaghetti that he didn't want.
Yes.
So then it was that there was too much spaghetti sauce on it. So then they fixed him a plate that had,
the right amount.
The right amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can feel overwhelming because as there's so much going on, everybody's tired.
Yeah.
Dad and Kenny just came back from being up in the attic trying to doing this duct work at Bug's house, and we've been unpacking still and moving things, and so we're so exhausted, and he starts having a meltdown, and Bug is the one that
saved the day,
walked him through that.
Yeah.
And I reminded him, and then I reminded him, use your words so we understand what you're asking.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because just like with you need things spelled out. You need the words.
Yeah.
In order to make sense. And he needs to use his words in order for it to make sense to us.
Yeah.
And
so it's a give and take, and I'm pretty sure we've said this on previous podcasts, but he's also on the spectrum.
Yes.
And so it's like I just said, it's a give and take of language. Because it's a communication. It's not talking at a wall or talking to a wall. It is a back and forth that needs to happen.
And the kids have been kind of overwhelmed by all of this too, because in the midst of us rearranging our house, and Nana and Pappy moving up here. But now their stuff is getting moved to a new house. And they have two houses and it's kind of confusing. Yeah. So they're overwhelmed too.
Plus they have their own room here.
They do.
So it's like...
But it's not really cool because right now, there's, what are they called? They're not called this, but the clothes are hung in it.
Closet?
No. No, the box...
You mean the moving box?
You're funny.
The moving box that has a hanger thing?
Yes.
In it? Yeah.
Yes. That Nana and Pappy stuff that have the bar over the top, but it's this big clothing box. Yeah. Yeah, it's in their hall. It's in their doorway. You can't really get through. Yeah. So it's a mess everywhere. That was funny the way you said that. Yes.
It's because it's true.
It is true. Yes. Yeah. So, anyway, do you think that you could be proactive, and when you're talking to people, that you could say, when at the end of that conversation, if you're not clear, could you be proactive and say, clarify what it is you're asking me to do?
Usually I'm able to. Doesn't always happen. But usually I either think to say something like that and I do, or they clarify it on their own. Okay. Because they know me. And the only issue is that sometimes I don't realize that I've been asked to do something.
Right.
So I don't know to clarify. And so then it doesn't happen, and it just leads to...
It's a very complicated situation, and I know that you are not aware of it. There's times when we're talking, and I feel like I've asked you a direct question, and And I look at you, and you're like, you're not looking at me, but I'm looking at you, and you finally look at me, and you're like, what? I'm like, I just asked you a question. You're like, you did?
Yeah.
So if there's a request in the middle of a conversation, that might not stick.
Right, it won't. I can guarantee it. It will not.
Okay. So when people are talking to someone on the spectrum, describe the best possible scenario of how they should convey what they're wanting.
So, if it's part of a conversation, make sure that it's understood that, hey, this is something different now. Please make sure you focus on this.
Okay.
And then ask your question or statement or whatever and clarify. Be very clear about what you're wanting or needing. And clarify and ask me if I need any clarifications for what needs to be done.
Okay.
And that's it. It's easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you and I could be having a conversation, but if it's a long one, I'm most likely not going to remember most of it. I'll remember it at times, but
You'll remember parts of it.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
that's what. Yeah, I've learned. Like if I'm aggravated with you, I better let you know in short spurts.
Yes. Yes.
Like those things like lectures. No, that doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not gonna. That doesn't get anywher.
Oh
yeah,
man, it doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So it just needs to be quick and then move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, it kind of goes into whenever I would get in trouble. That I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Well, it just needs to be quick.
Oh, okay.
What you want, right? What you need to be told needs to be told.
Just
short periods of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, not long-winded or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I agree. All right. Well, I'm glad to be back with you, everybody. It's wonderful. We've missed you. We've talked about getting back to the podcast, and so grateful to be back here and beginning to be settled back in. Yeah. So, you can find us all over the place if you go check us out on my website. It's sonyaking.com. It's SONYAKING. If you want to give us 5 stars, because we've been gone for a while, if you give us 5 stars, it's going to help us to get back in the mix. So that would help us out a lot. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we hope you're doing well. We hope you're safe and happy.
Yeah.
And enjoying getting out. I know for a long time nobody was able to go anywhere. So I hope you're out and enjoying life again. So we're very looking forward to seeing you next week or talking with you next week.
Yeah.
And all right. So have a great day. Love you.
Bye.